issues. Gentlemen, let's
Alright.
do it for one last time.
Okay, so Singularity is banned. Remember that they are red side here. So
They are red-sided.
So are we Kalista, Caitlyn, Tristana? Is that
Tristana,
really
yeah.
where we're going?
I don't think Ziggs, you need to ban Ziggs if Tristana is banned, because most of Ziggs' power comes from how strong of a siege he does. And of course, Tristana complements that very well because she's able to explosive shot the tower down to about half health, where it's within execute range of Ziggs' satchel charge. So I don't think you need to be so scared of the Ziggs. So I think banning 3 AD carries here is perfectly fine. The Caitlyn and the Tristana coming out.
Right.
And XL actually banning away the Jarvan.
Because that implies that Singularity could just freely pick Sejuani here, because, you know, Jarvan is the problem for the Sejuani.
Yeah, of course. There's other
just kind of
responses into the Sejuani, but
It's just kind of odd that you'd ban your own champion that kind of deals with that problem. But I mean, I can see it. I guess it's just perhaps
looks like
not necessary.
Looks like they don't want to deal with the Morgana again. Orcs' Morgana has been causing them a bit of trouble, so looking to put him on something else instead.
Okay, so at this point, you know, Caitlyn's open, Ziggs is open. There's still the possibility of other sort of mid lane bans coming out that you don't want to deal with, like Syndra. Yeah.
Oh, well,
being
yeah, Syndra, okay.
yeah, Syndra from Excel here because we are on the wrong side. Remember, so
Yeah.
keep throwing me as well. Don't worry about it. And
the
the Azir. Okay, so very different. Now a lot of AD carries are left open, but at least now if Tristana gets picked, you can take Caitlyn and vice versa. That means you have an answer to it.
Yeah, of course. They're actually looking to take Caitlyn themselves. Actually, this is actually quite smart from XL. I'm really liking this because Tristana isn't as comfortable of a pick on Matty. However, if they do take the Tristana, which is one of the strongest ADs left open, of course he's got Xayah to revert back to. If they play towards the bot side of the map, if XL play towards the bot side of the map and are able to siege this bot tower down very quickly, they can really speed up the game like that and do the, take the bot lane tower at 5 minutes, swap the bot lane to top, the notorious Caitlyn siege that we've seen. Cho'Gath Sejuani, again, not willing to switch up, determined to make this work despite it failing for last game.
Well, it worked in the first couple of games, and it's not that it's inherently bad or anything. It's just that XL is seemingly being able to outplay it quite well. But Kerberos, very competent Cho'Gath player, and of course, we've seen Cesar play Sejuani now 5 games for the 5th game in a row. It could be that he has a bad champion pool. It could just be that he prefers his champion out of all the others. It could be that it fits the comp because it has the engage. Honestly, we're not going to be able to find out because this is of course the last game. But compositionally, it looks all right. I mean, Cho and Sej at least have synergy together. The chain, CC, both massive tanks. It allows a lot of options for the rest of your team to pick and play. I'm feeling they're going to have to pick the Tristana here from Singularity's side, just because otherwise it's going to get banned out, I presume.
Yeah, it is vital to pick an AD carry for this last pick. Otherwise, they're going to take away most of Matthew's comfort picks, and he's going to be left to pick something a bit more unorthodox or out of meta. So the Malzahar, once again, picking pretty much the same thing. Last game, we saw how powerful Trundle and Malzahar are into the tank lineup from Singularity, so there's no reason to change anything up. And yet there's the Tristana coming in just to avoid the AD carry bans coming out from XL, so that Matty can actually play League of Legends and not be forced off-roll or off-pick.
Off-roll. And the thing here as well, the thing about this Trundle pick that's so nice is that it typically counters or soft counters tanks, obviously makes them a lot less tanky. And both Kerberos and Cez are now playing massive tanks. It's just going to have so much more effective value here, and that Trundle is still technically flexible as well. It is still a support or a possible top laner, so still got all those options going for them.
Look what's going on now. Whichever vital role is left open, that team is trying to ban it for the enemy team. So
quite common though,
Yeah, very common indeed, yeah. So Zach Rek'Sai coming out bans, trying to target Taxa, and on the other hand, Vladimir and possibly another mid lane ban, like maybe Orianna or the Galio actually, coming out. But of course, they do have Orianna available, but they will probably look to... Oh, they're actually saving support for last pick. Okay, Talia for Paris Gris. Something new that we've not seen him play this tourney.
I'm very interested that they haven't picked their support here, because last time they did this, they tried to counterpick Alistar with Malphite, I seem to remember.
Yeah.
Last time Singularity sort of deliberately left their support to last pick. I'm not sure if it works quite here, but to buy and pick your mid lane is not necessarily the most necessary thing, but if there's only one thing left that you can play, it might not matter in the end anyway. We're seeing the Gragas, which is nice, the other go-to jungle tank.
Pretty much the next safest option from Jarvan, and now just the support.
Tons of options really here.
Come out from XL here.
We can go to Ardent support, we could see, or we could just see like a tank, I mean...
Maybe they could actually be baiting the Alistar pick here so they can respond with the Malphite again. I'm wondering if that's what they're going for, because I don't see any other reason than trying to to hide the support pick. Braum being picked up from XL
I
here.
have something else in mind, something that can try and punish the Braum very heavily in the laning phase, but you either go a ranged matchup and then just try and bully him out because you're the ranged into the melee, or you go another sort of similar tank like the Braum, an Alistar or something, and just sort of match them as you get up to the mid and late game.
Lulu being hovered.
I mean, you have 2 mega tanks on the team, so there's nothing wrong with going a sort of shield ranged Ardent Sensor building
This
support.
is incredibly 7-18.
Yeah, I mean, very.
Very patch 7-18. Sejuani and the Ardent Sensor meta, and even Talia mid has stopped being played recently due to the mana nerfs on her Q, but Singularity, I think it is a viable strategy to win this final game in the best-of-5 series.
And that would help. You need something that's going to help you win this game because they've struggled
Inspired
in the
by
last
SKT.
2. Maybe, just maybe, Singularity might be able to bring themselves back into this series. It's going to be a tough one, that's for sure. After losing 2 on the bounce, after being 2-0 up, certainly your mentality is going to be gone. But guys, if you had to predict a favourite then going into game number 5, where would you put your money?
I'm going all out XL. Just the tempo and the solid recovery that they've been able to make, and the exhaustion that Singularity must be feeling right now, they're definitely at the disadvantage now, and this is XL's game to lose. I believe they got this series.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree. And, to add to it, I think they've figured out how to deal with this Singularity comp, and it's the exact comp they played against before. They beat it last time they played against it. I believe they can do it again.
Well, they will need to do it again if they are going to be able to take home that trophy that you see on your screens. Is it going to be Team XL Esports, or is it going to be Team Singularity? And there's only 2 men that can take us through this final match of the grand final, and of course, it's Jaws, it's Foxdrop. Guys, take it away.
Thank you once again on the desk for your insightful words. We are into game number 5, the penultimate one to take down the take home the trophy.
You're going to take it down. It's yours. You can do what you want with it.
Yeah, I suppose that's true. XL versus Singularity. XL looking for the reverse sweep. Singularity went up 2 games, then XL swiftly took 2 more. And for the first time, we're seeing that Caitlyn be unbanned. And oh boy, it's on Inax.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Inax has proven if you put it on him, he'll take it away. So 3 Tristana games in a row, popped off in every single one of them. Caitlyn's a little bit different, but still kind of has the same sort of playstyle. And, if they do to Inax on Caitlyn like they did to him when he was playing Tristana, to be honest, I can see a very similar result happening.
Inax on his Destiny-inspired Sparrow. Big fan of that skin.
It's a nice skin. I quite like the one with the pink top hat again. Certain dominance.
Again, it's certain dominance into the game. Kerberos, though, might have been in a little bit of trouble. Braum, one of the strongest or stronger level 1 champions in the game. Can provide multiple stunts if they can get on top of him with a couple of melees, but they just end up making sure Kerberos knows his place. And Cho'Gath, once again for him, and Cesar, like they said on the desk, same old, same old. Cesar has not steered away from this Sejuani pick the entirety of this best of 5.
And if I were to give an edge to one of these junglers who's performed a bit better, specifically in the early game pressure, I'd have to give the edge to Taxa. I think he's done really creative pathing. We've seen a lot of level 2 ganks from him. And just in general, he seems to be able to apply a bit more pressure. He's usually a bit more proactive. He's usually the first one to the objective play. But Sejuani is a very safe pick. And if Cesar wants to keep picking Sejuani, I mean, it's not really something you can go wrong with. It's a huge front line. It's great initiation. And they did ban the Morgana this game. And Morgana was a huge issue for Cesar, I would say. Just not able to get off those initiations with the black shield. So I think Cesar will have an easier time this game. And I'm also interested in the mid matchup because Paris Gree hard carried the first 2 games when Singularity won. And honestly, in the past 2 games where they've lost, I'd say he's not really had the same amount of impact.
And speaking of those last 2 games, XL over that time have secured 15 neutral objectives. That's Dragons, Barons, and Rift Heralds. Singularity, on the other hand, have secured 2. An Ocean Drake and a Baron last game. Speaking of Ocean Drakes, that's going to be the first one on the board.
What happened to important dragons for important games? Although, like we said, if you get this Ocean Dragon really early, it is actually really important, especially when you have people like Malzahar and Talia who just want to spend all their mana shoving minion waves in. So I'm really excited. I mean, before level 6, not much is going to happen mid, but outside of that, there is potential for Paris to get something going with his Talia W, and after level 6 with his roams, if he has control in this mid lane, he can get out of that lane and he can influence other lanes. Will he be able to do that versus a Malzahar who's constantly pushing him in? Unlikely, but the potential is there.
They've got a lot of setup yet again. That is XL. Nethergrass from Krumel worked out so well last game.
Yeah.
It was so impactful, even picking off the tanks like we said. Caesar, more often than not now, just prioritizing HP rather than any resistances. He normally picks up Warmogs as his first item after he's completed his jungle item. And he did a fantastic job. And Parascree now a bit more of a playmaker. Again, Talia has been thoroughly wanted, I feel, from him, because it's been banned away from him every single game.
Yeah,
so
he'll be happy to be on this one. And it is important you mentioned the itemization from Caesar. He's gone Cinderholt Warmogs every game this series, sorry. And that's very common, honestly, to see out of Sejuani. It's pretty much like a very core build, you would say. However, it would be nice to see a bit of adaptation. You often see the adaptive helm come out versus Malzahar. On the downside to that, it's really only good versus Malzahar. He's not getting much use out of it versus anyone else.
Nice silent seismic shove, just goes a little bit wide. Sessa is in the brush, and Krumel acts accordingly and goes to the other side of his lane. Sessa now showing up, realizes this is the case. Taxa is also here, so Sessa's going to help Parascree shove out the lane. Not sure if he's actually going to go for something here, although walking into it. Does that flash, does that body slam, but the flash actually coming from Parascree before Taxa could blow his. That's an important summoner spell down yet again in the early game.
That is important. And that's maybe a little bit of jitters coming through there. I don't think Parascree had to blow that one at all, to be honest with you. Even if Taxa lands the E-Flash, nothing else is going to happen. Malzahar can't follow it up. Parascree going even lower.
Oh,
there it is.
First blood goes over to Krumel, but Sessa is here as well. That's going to be the flash to get the procs. He's going to be able to find the stun as well. Can Taxa make it in time?
Oh,
nice cleanse from Krumel. Will keep him alive for the time being. First blood, though. XL.
And that's an important first blood to get. Parascree has shown time and time again during the victories from Singularity, he's the one getting off. He's the one making it happen. So to shut him down early on is really important. And also, Krumel kind of struggles, really, in the pure 1v1. We've not really seen too much out of him. So giving a little bit of love over to him, really nice. But maybe you have to question him using his flash earlier, Parascree, when he maybe jumped the gun a little bit on the first Dragger Skank. He's vulnerable for the second return.
And that is the first time in the series the first blood hasn't gone over to Shikari or Inax. So little love tap in the mid lane. That's going to actually net him a fair bit in the lane as well. He's picked up that lost chapters and a set of boots, a couple of those cookies, rather than Parascree picking up an extra Doran's ring and a Dark Seal. Not something you want as a Talia. Yes, it gives you a little bit more mana sustain. Obviously, your potions mean a lot more to you as well, but that lost chapters, that's going to see you through right till you get to your Morellos.
Especially in the kind of lane that this is, where you're just, both these characters here are just trying to push. And Morellos and Malzahar is fairly significant, like a gank in top lane.
Uh-oh, there's the trophy. It's been laid out. XL looking to get another kill. Kerberos pinned. And that'll be XL picking their second kill of the game. Eerily reminiscent of the last 4 we've had. XL with his early dominance is able to shove Kerberos down and doesn't even blow flash.
And Taxa, honestly, for me, has been an absolute MVP this whole series. In the early game, XL has always had the advantage, even when they've lost. They've done so well in the very first 10 minutes of the game. And a lot of that is because of Taxa and his pathing and his ability to pressure lanes.
Oh no. Oh, Kerberos. That's a sticky place to be. Although he does use that rupture just to make sure XL couldn't get anything more. It frees the wave as well, kind of.
Well, yeah, until he just blows it open with his W and his E. But yeah, gets away with that one a little bit. But it's interesting, though, that Taxa has actually passed so far not towards the bot lane. The last 2 games, we saw him heavily path towards bot lane and towards Inax. And this time, he's actually putting ahead the 2 solo lanes. So a bit of an adaptation in strategy there, and we'll have to see how it happens as a 4-man dive is being prepped. The Singularity in the bot lane
Parascree's got that Weaver's Wall. He's coming in. He does make it land. Teleport instantly from Shikari, though, is going to get cancelled.
They can just go back.
Sessa has got Glacial Storm as well. Uh-oh, Glacial Prism, I mean. Oh, the seismic shove was good. Sessa picks up the kill with the Glacial Prism.
Here comes Mazhar.
Will be Sessa at least securing a kill for Singularity, but he's in the wrong place, wrong time, wrong side of the turret. Krimel's there. Doesn't even need his ult, just the Malefic Visions. A couple of basic attacks will find the kill. Taxa now, flash, body slam, doesn't need it. Nice flash from Shifter. Does get him out to safety.
And the unsung play of that right there is the fact that Shikari had to use his teleport to kind of threaten to defend that dive. And he lost a fair amount topside. Kerberos was already on his tower when he used his teleport, and he wasn't able to teleport back into lane. So he lost a little bit of farm there, which is not ideal. But we've seen this matchup how many times this series?
Three times.
Yeah.
3 times, yep.
And it's going to go the same pretty much every single game. So Kerberos is just going to get tanky. Shikari's going to press R. And then Kerberos is going to run away and whatever. So we probably won't see too much. And a lot of it comes down to whether or not Taxa roams top. But Krumel can also roam topside. A little bit harder to do when Talia's going to shove you in and when you have no mobility, so it's risky if you get caught. But if he does go topside, I don't think Kerberos will survive a Malzahar gank.
Oh no. The flash near the grasp is something to be quite fearful of. Although Parascree does have that Weaver's Wall, and you can imagine that's one of the reasons why they wanted to pick up the Talia in the first place, and one of the reasons why it's banned. Talia rising in popularity both in solo queue and professional play because of her amount of map pressure she does acquire as soon as she hits level 6. Not only can you set up your jungler with a Weaver's Wall, but you have a whole lot of CC as well. If you land that seismic shove, that's almost a guaranteed kill.
Talia is heavily favored among the Koreans, specifically in solo queue. I did a video on this recently. I looked up the top challengers, all the mid lane mains have a 70% win rate or higher on Talia. There was one person who didn't, and this was during the NA bootcamp for Worlds, Pobelter. He was the only player, the only mid laner in Korean Challenger who did not have Talia in his top 2 or 3 most played champions with an insane win rate. He's the only non-Korean player there. So the point of me mentioning that is that in the right hands, when you have these kind of more organized games, when you do have the ability to make these plays and you play it right, Talia is a very threatening character.
Oh, flash near the grass. That's what we were worried about. There's the casket as well. Paris is going to use that heal to try and get away, but the red buff is ticking down. Still has flash available, and Seth is going to be here as well. Vision plant used. Oh, ace in the hole from Inax is good. Does take him out, and now Sessa is on the run. Does use the flash away to get away from that giant wine bottle. Inax with the small roam does pick up a kill for himself, and that gets him on the board.
Beautiful stuff. I mean, Inax, considering they put zero pressure bot side, I'm sure he's happy with a free kill right there. I think Paris not really he used all his abilities just to clear minion wave, and to be honest, he was probably going to back after that. So a bit unfortunate to get caught right as you're about to back. But you have to respect the fact that Taxa, this guy has done so well in the early game all series, and I've already said this, but you have to respect it. Especially on someone like Gragas, who... Gragas can definitely make things happen early game. We're seeing that.
It's one of Taxa's main champions as well. This is a jungler that he prioritizes more often than not, and through the entire season, not only drew bans on it, when he did get his hands on it, this is exactly what he was doing. He was making plays every single time his flash was up. Every single time he saw someone overextended, he was in that lane. And an easy setup, like we've said before, in the Malzahar, flash Nethergrasp or just Nethergrasp, really easy for him. Parascree actually using that Weaver's Wall just to be able to secure tier 1 turret. And this is going to be Singularity's first brick gold going over to them for the first time in this series.
And a lot of this just comes off, if not all of this comes off, from the fact that Kerberos, in the 1v1, has gained such an advantage that they're able to do that. I mean, Parascree just shows up, really just a formality there. They're going for the return here as well, smashing his lane. Kerberos, top lane.
Taxa's going to get the body slam. The casket, not quite you. The casket, but not casket yet. The Lulu's not dead. There's the teleport from Shikari. Ooh. Nice double rupture, though, from Kerberos. And now Sessa's joined the fray. There's the casket, sends Kerberos flying, but the aim is Krumel, and the turret does take him out in the end. Kerberos going really low. Heal does get used by Shifter as well to keep him alive. Sessa, willing to march forward up against Inax, is going to have to back off as well. Blinking health bars from Singularity might just end their bottom tier 1 turret's life It does. And that is them going away from the fight, or at least trying to. Glacial Prism used on Shikari. Setzer overstepping. The trophy gets laid down. Shikari picks up another kill. Double kill for the Trundle. Parascree has only just arrived, and Singularity can't quite find anything but a kill onto Orcs.
Singularity seemed to be in two minds there whether they wanted to go for that play, and it might not just be over.
Jump forward from Matty. Parascree's off to the side. Unraveled Earth out, but that'll be EXL just disengaging. They trade 2 for 1 and get the turret as well.
We saw Parascree on the minimap there. Didn't really look like he wanted to come down. While that whole thing was happening, he was just chilling in mid lane. Then he came to where that control ward is and decided no, went back, and then actually did come down. That's a little bit of miscommunication there with Singularity. Honestly, I think they were in a decent spot considering it was a 4v5, not in their favor. They pick up a kill. Yes, their tower goes down, but maybe it would be worth Parascree just sitting mid trying to get some damage on the tower. But the fact that he used his ultimate topside, if that was up, I don't think XL even goes for that play, but if it was up, that could have been really, really ugly for XL.
It could have been that if he was a little bit more decisive and just instantly walked bottom lane, it could have been a very different story. We'll never know the ending to that story. Parascree didn't find anything as he did go for the roam. Doesn't lose too much in CS, mind you, so he only loses about 5 in that small roam. Malzahar's up to his first item now, however. After those 2 kills, Morel and Omicron at 13 minutes ain't half bad. But Parascree has picked up those Mercury Treads, obviously still quite scared of the Netherguard.
Yeah, when you're playing a champion that kind of has to duck and dive, and especially with just the way Talia's Q works, having that early move speed is really useful. And considering if you're Criminal, you don't have tier 2 boots right now, but you do have a cleanse. I know it's on cooldown, but in general, you can rely on that cleanse. So there's less pressure for you to get those early boots in comparison. But like you mentioned, that is a somewhat significant power spike difference here, where you've got the Morellos coming through versus no Morellos. That might influence things, especially if they're going for a Rift Herald play here, where shoving mid lane and then coming up to this Rift Herald might be quite important.
I spoke a second ago about XL's dominance of these neutral objectives. They secured 15 over the last 2 games, where Singularity only secured 2. You can see where they like to play around, and that is just fighting around these neutral objectives. You could say that's down to Singularity giving up the first turret, giving up first blood, but this time they've got the first turret blood. They had it in the top lane. They were just not able to translate that to anything, it seems. Now Xmatty, even though he's on the top side, he is forced under this turret, as this Caitlyn has got Infinity Edge and Berserker Greaves, and she's looking mighty scary. Uh-oh, Taxa caught out, wrong place, wrong time. Cask used, Inax is coming through as well. He doesn't have heal. Nethergrass used on Setzer. He ends up going down. Krumel finds the kill. Rupture onto Inax on the back line. Kerberos is there. He's joined the fight. He finds the kill on the Fat Man, but Singularity still trying to push forward. Kerberos gets stunned up. Unraveled Earth didn't quite find Inax. He's still running away. Kerberos gets the nom-noms, and he finds himself a double kill.
Singularity going to have to turn this one either to the mid lane turret or go for that Rift Herald. A really nice flank from Kerberos there, picking up the 2 people on the back side. And it looks like they are going to get the tower, maybe even pick up Orcs on the side as well. Maybe not. But they have to go for an objective here. You could go for that Herald. I mean, you've got 2 people down, including the jungler. I feel like this is maybe I'm getting a bit overzealous here, but I feel like that's a bit of a missed opportunity. You got Dragon, you got Herald, you got a tower. They go for the tower, doesn't turn into anything. 2 kills is cool, but you really want to get something else.
Yeah. Kerberos got those 2 kills as well, so he's a little bit more bang for his buck now.
Oh look, Kerberos is leading his team in kills. Where have I seen that before?
Oh boy, it's game number 4 all over again. But realistically, Singularity now, they may have a way to actually pin people down and pin Inax down. He hasn't got the mobility that the Tristana had, and Kerberos, we spoke about this in game number 4, where we felt like he needed to go for flanks. That's exactly what he did there. It netted his team 2 kills, not a turret, but it was still a good start. Singularity, they're not out of the race yet. They have found Orcs. Parascree with the Weaver's Wall is going to make his way there as well. Unraveled Earth doesn't quite find anybody at all. Still moving forward. Seismic Shove finds the Caitlyn, but she's still standing behind the Gragas.
Here comes the Malzahar. He might be able to get in here. I mean, we have to remember, Malzahar can choose anyone, press R on them. Solo kill in the bot lane as well. That's important, because that's teleport as well. Both these top lanes had teleport, so these guys are holding on to TP to make the team play. Now you've taken one of them off the map. What team play does Singularity go for here?
They're just trying to defend their mid-turret, it seems. They can't just let this one go away for free. And in fact, that solo kill's found almost nothing. Actually, there's the teleport. Their teleport is going to come in from Kerberos. Does get batted away, but Orcs is in the front line. Gets seismic shoved backwards, and that'll be Paris Gree's first kill of the game.
You have to know, once you lose that solo kill in the bot lane with the top laners, teleport, that's what's coming down, and then their Singularity are going to look to take advantage of that. That's exactly what they do. They get that cheeky kill, and that kill is going to mean more. But XLT being in here, they want to stop this Herald from going down.
Shikari,
here he comes.
He's got the Ravenous Hydra now. He has got his first completed item, so he's not necessarily that tanky.
XL are all
still
here,
though. To push this.
All of them are here, and only 3 from Singularity are here.
Orcs is coming up from the base as well. Is a 4v3, and they do just handily give it over. Okay, Cesar not wanting to commit, maybe due to the lack of ultimate. That's another Rift Herald now over to XL.
When I said they were all here, I meant obviously all but Orcs. But that's cool, because Orcs isn't really... If you were going to choose one person not to be there, you'd probably choose Orcs not to be there, and that's cool. A 4v3, now they're busting out the Rift Herald as well. Kerberos, you're very strong and you're very scary, but I don't think you're going to be able to stop this one from going down. This will one-hit the tower, breaks open that first tier 1 tower, and we said this so many times this series, that's the most important tower to bring down. Opening up the map now. This should make the game a little bit more tumultuous. This really ends lane phase. I mean, lane phase has kind of been over, sort of, already, but this is what really opens up the map and really opens up the macro.
Singularity, like many other teams in the Prem, have been put heavy priority on this Tristana. It's only now Matty is getting this late game hyper-carrying beast. They do secure an Ocean Drake, but that does signal a nicer Drake coming down. It's going to be Infernal next up.
I wonder what Matty's going to buy with that cloth armor, or whether he's just got it chilling. Just, you know, because why not?
Frozen Fist.
It's a bit nippy and he fancies a bit of armor, a bit of vest.
Did Taxa steal that?
He got it.
He actually just stole that straight underneath the Taxa's nose.
Well, that's not nice. Tax ain't going to be happy about that one.
There we go. There's the Tristana in action. They do secure the bottom tier 1, and now they're pushing down with all 4 members. Kerberos is, in fact, without teleport, is actually just decided to join the team.
Inax is top. They know they're going to have numbers advantage. And look at Flea.
The Glacier Storm did end up going a little bit wide, but they jumped straight onto the Gragas. The cask wasn't quite enough, and Paris Gree even blocks his entrance off as well. Shifter finds the kill secure, and they will be able to secure bottom at tier 2 as well. Seismic shove onto Shikari. Rupture ends up going wide, so they're going to be happy with that one for the moment.
I think what's most impressive about this is that it feels like Singularity are doing this without Paris Gree having to carry.
Seismic shove onto Shikari, has to use that pillar to get out, and Paris Gree finds the threaded volley, threads the needle, and picks up the kill.
First 2 games when they won, it was all about Paris Gree. This game, I have to say, Kerberos is really putting it out. He's played solid throughout this whole series, I would say. And to be able to get this 1v1 pressure he's been able to versus Shikari pretty much consistently, I would say. And especially in a matchup like that, Cho'Gath into Trundle, it's really impressive. And just in general, this guy's been playing out of his mind right now and trying to crush XL's dreams of fulfilling that reverse sweep. And Inax pushing top does get a tower, but at what cost?
Exactly. And hey, would you look at the time? We're 21 minutes in. It's time for the gold recap with Jaws. Only 2,000 gold in the lead for Singularity. Once again, finding themselves 4 out of the 5 games ahead at around the 20-minute mark. Now, this is all good. This is all good. This is all good, Foxtrot. It's all good.
If you're a Singularity fan, this is
fine for you, right? But
yeah.
XL last game completely blew it open with a 6k gold lead at 22 minutes.
I mean, at this point last game, XL had Baron. They were walking around with that purple thing spinning around them. This is a slightly different game, but this is still anyone's game, like, most definitely. I mean, not only is the gold totals very close, even though Singularity does have a 2k gold lead, it's still very close. And as far as the whole scope of the game and your win conditions are concerned, it's not like XL needed to win early. I mean, they can chill out and they can come to this late game and they still have multiple win conditions here.
Well, let's talk about those win conditions then in that case, because XL, they've got this Caitlyn, they've got this Malzahar for the easy pickoffs. Caitlyn's going to be doing a whole buttload of damage later, but so is Tristana on X-Mati. Where does Singularity look to put their members? Are they going to 1-3-1? Are they going to 1-4 with Kerberos sitting up in the top lane? What is going to be their game plan?
I really feel like a lot of it comes down to how Kerberos does in that 1v1 versus Shikari. Because you would think, theoretically, nothing much should really happen at this point. But Singularity have a very quick switch. If they want to start a fight, if they want to force something, Taliyah can stick the wall behind them, and XL are kind of forced to stay in the area. Especially when your carries, Malzahar specifically, he's not going to get away from that wall if you stick it behind him. So I feel like Singularity definitely have the upper hand in that, and also not only just to force fights, Taliyah can use it to roam around and do whatever she wants to do there. And what I think is nice as well, this game, the adaptation with Cesar is he's not gone for the Warmogs, and he is building magic resist now at this point too. So Cesar's setting up shop in his office where he likes to go to work.
Over the wall, Glacial Prism's going to land on the Gragas as he's mid-jump. That Nether Grasp onto the Sejuani takes him out. Krumel finds a kill. Can they find anything else? Shikari's coming in. Beautiful pillar. Doesn't quite pin Paris Gree, but they do manage to seismic shove Krumel backwards. They can't advance. Shikari used that subjugate as well. They end up finding one kill, which stops the siege from Singularity for now.
That was... XL were a little bit on the back foot this game. That is a nice way to stem the bleeding just a little bit. A little bit over-aggressive there from Cesar, and I think this Malzahar pick has been really smart considering Cesar has consistently picked this Sejuani. It's really good versus Sejuani. Anytime Sejuani goes in, they kind of kite back a little bit, and then Malzahar presses R. And suddenly, the tables have turned, and Sejuani's in the one. In a lot of trouble. And then she dies like we saw here, so she's itemizing towards that locket. I really would love to see like a second item adaptive helm, honestly. Like we saw this in the World Finals, SKT versus Samsung Galaxy. They do this versus Malzahar. They just buy adaptive helm second item because it's so good versus him.
Everybody does. If you're a tank player and you're against a Malzahar,
I mean, Tax has done it.
Second item, it seems, needs to be the adaptive helm.
Yeah, considering that is if you're Cesar, that's the problem. I would like to see that at least, but still.
Wave clear's a little bit too much for Singularity right now. Excel with the Malzahar, with the Caitlyn, is going to be able to set up shop, like you said. Cesar might have an office, might have a little something more as well as he gets stunned up. Excel determined to push forward, gets rooted. There's the grasp again. While growth wasn't even enough to save him, and Taxa secures the kill.
Right before the Infernal.
Would you look at that? Infernal Drake is going to spawn as well. It's like Excel planned it.
I mean, Cesar is one of the tankiest people in the game. And he's over half his team's deaths right now. Because Malzahar is just destroying him, really. That's really what it comes down to. But I think it's important to look at as well how XL played this game up until this point. We noticed... Here comes...
all right. You tried for it. That's what we want to see.
If they get
Kerberos is going to go down to Shikari. This very well could be. Cesar is 3 seconds until he spawns. Kerberos has teleport, but he's 40 seconds away. Looks like XL are actually just going to commit to mid rather than play the risky Baron take.
If both Kerberos and Cesar are dead, you can say Cerberus, that's fine.
Cerberus, yeah.
That mixes the two together. I mean, we saw the on-the-way pings to Baron. XL are feeling it. You get a little bit high feed when you get a kill. You're like, let's go. But no, they're going to tone it down.
Take a breather.
Yeah, they're going to chill out. But XL, Taxa specifically dedicated... His pathing this game was not towards Inax.
Oh, no! Cesar needed a basic attack, and poor little Rift Sculler gets taken by Orcs instead. That was really big as well. Now they've got no permanent vision on that Baron. Cesar knew this was a possibility from XL to set this one up. And now that vision is gone, Shifter having to make up for some of that.
That's again, the stage jitters, the Game 5 jitters, where you're so... paranoid of making a mistake, especially Cesar when you've already set up the banquet here, and XL are going to town on that. You don't want to die again, so giving over that Rift Scuttle, losing a Tier 1 tower as well. I mean, at this point in the game, these Tier 1 towers, they're going to die very quickly anyway, so it's not as big of a deal to lose it right there. Inax sitting here 1, 2, and 7. Decent amount of CS, pretty standard. But where did Taxa go this game? Top and mid. Who's winning this game? Top and mid.
Ace in the hole. Banshee's Veil.
And we have to see if that strategy works out. That was the end of my point.
Yep.
It's not all in the Inax basket right now.
It's not. Krumel has set up a lot of these plays. He has 4 kills, 1 death and 3 assists. And with that, with 3 items, including the Rylai's and Leandries, not only is Sessa and whoever gets tagged by Malefic Visions is going to die quickly, they're going to die slowly as well. It's going to allow XL a lot of breathing room. That control mage item of the Rylai's sets up a lot. You don't think a slow's enough, but it allows your whole team to then catch up to them in pacing and allows Inax to get on the target a lot quicker or even stop them from advancing altogether.
I mean, that's especially good when you consider most of their team does just want to walk up to people. The Trundle specifically, the Malzahar as well can follow himself up. If you get a Malefic Visions down and you've got the Rylai's, that is just like a 5-second slow, you know? It's pretty crazy.
And the Alangi's ticking as well.
Yeah, of course.
Deathfire is ticking.
And then there, it's...
Meanwhile, half your health bar's disappeared, and you're wondering what's happened to your life, and it feels like Malzahar's just taking it all away. So I play Malzahar in solo queue, by the way.
Yeah, it's
Malzahar's great.
It is, and he's simple, so that's good.
I mean, we talked about it last game. What did Krumel need from this mid lane? Because it looked like Paris Gree was kind of walking all over him. He was like playing him like he was a dog with a small toy in some of the instances. But now it's extremely easy to be the catalyst for your team. Not necessarily the big playmaker, but for someone that sets up a lot of these kills. And that's exactly the role he's filling now.
And it's a safe laner. So it feels like his margin for error is pretty slim. Yeah. Combine that with the fact that Taxa actually gave him some love in the lane phase as well. So I feel like they've done a really good job, XL, honestly, because Krumel in the first few games was not looking particularly hot, but now he's one of their key factors for victory right here. I mean, he's playing really well.
I mean, he's taken off his jacket. Man's not hot, though.
Yes.
Yes. Memes. Okay. Hope you've been keeping up, my friend.
Yeah, well, I'll be having to live under rocks and not understand what that is.
Yeah, that's true. He's got his own song now. It's on Spotify.
Yeah, it's popping off on YouTube. Jelly.
Yeah. You're telling the YouTube fame.
Yeah. What's that about? Then again, who wants to be YouTube famous? Those YouTubers, nothing but trouble.
Nothing but trouble.
Nah.
You're Caster now.
Yeah.
Caster's nothing but trouble.
Yeah,
that's what everybody will tell you.
This locket's almost complete, by the way, from Sejuani as well. So we were kind of whining about the fact he doesn't have Adaptive Helm, but Adaptive Helm helps him survive more, Locket helps his whole team survive more. So there's definite benefit there to getting the Locket, and it's almost done. And look, they secured the Rift stuff. Good.
Hey. Now it's just the Baron dance. And in fact, speaking of a Baron dance, Singularity are going to enact that straight away. Paris Grey actually using his wall to lock a lot of people off. Shikari pushing at that bottom side as well rather quickly. Baron going down extremely fast, but Inax is over the wall. Ooh. That cast was really good, straight into the trap of Kerberos, but Tax is going to go in already. Kerberos is going down extremely low. Inax getting 3 auto attacks off. Meanwhile, Matty is just out of the fight. Inax finds one, he finds the 2-piece. Paris Gree has the ace and the whole fight towards him. He takes so much damage, he has to back off, and that's XL with a free Baron.
That is such a huge swing for XL's favor, that right there. We were saying how in these clutch games, in these game 5s, you do not want to make that play that throws it all away, and Baron is the place to throw a game of League of Legends. And I think we may have just seen it right there. That is, those calls can make or break the game.
Flash body slam, Paris Gree in trouble. Krumel follows it up, picks up the kill, and adds another notch to his belt. 5-1 on the Malzahar, and now they are starting to break the base at 30 minutes.
If you are a Singularity fan right now, it just went from a mild day to a small drizzle to it is chucking it down on your face and you left your umbrella at home. This is not what you wanted to see. The game was looking so good for Singularity, and then that one Baron call. This was so risky. They saw Shikari pushing down bot lane. He was pushing really, really far, holding on to his TP. They thought they could go for it because they have the Cho'Gath. The Cho'Gath can out-secure the Baron compared to the Gragas. Gragas can smite it, Cho'Gath can eat it, but Cho'Gath can't eat anything when he's dead. And they definitely underestimated the damage there from XL. XL turn it around, and this game is now theirs to lose.
A small, beautiful player did notice in that fight was Taxa threw the cask over the wall, and it shoved Kerberos closer to the side of the pit, which meant Inax could basically sit there and just trap, on the road and then just go.
And he's also, he's got the last Whisper item. Is it Lord Dominic's, this one? That is good versus people with a lot of health. Cho'Gath, someone once told me, has a lot of health. So this guy, Inex can certainly put a dent in him.
I've been told he has a lot of HP.
Yeah.
That turret won't have much HP left though. XL are pushing up with that Baron buff, and you know what Caitlyn's good at? Setting up around turrets with those traps, and that's exactly what Inax is doing right now. Or at least he's going to in a couple of seconds, or might not need to apparently.
Yeah, this tower...
Oh, hang on a minute. Kerberos with the flash forward, and he gets punted straight towards the Caitlyn. If she goes down, they end up trading kills 1-for-1 though, and Shifter and X-Matty is chasing Shikari. Paris Gree tries to find the kill onto Taxa. He ends up taking out Primel anyway. Shikari trapped between a rock and a hard place, and Paris Gree and X-Matty will finish him off. Taxa and Orcs, the last members alive with Baron buff. They will have to just saunter away with the tail between their legs.
Well, Orcs is dead. One person alive, one Baron survives. That in itself is fortunate. I didn't even see what happened there. It just all went to hell. Kerberos filling his role perfectly. He may have died here, but he did exactly what he needed to do. Walked right in the back line and just ate stuff. And, well, once you eat stuff, good things happen.
From a good cast to a bad cast, it actually sent Kerberos straight towards Inax. He already feasted him. Inax used that caliber net, and nom nom nom.
That's an honorable opponent. Oh boy. Yeah, here we go again. So even though they open up with the Malzahar ultimate onto Sejuani, which has been how they've won these fights in the past, when everything's going to hell around you, that in itself is not enough. The rest of the team can't focus down the Sejuani, and she's only on half health at the end of this fight. And then everything else, they're just split out, unable to kind of form that coherent team fight that they want to do. And like you say, that cast was a little bit unfortunate. And oh boy, I thought Singularity had done a whoopsie, to put it in a PG form, with that Baron play. And I said it was XL's game to lose. I mean, they still do have that gold advantage. Almost 3,000 gold. But the later this game goes on, the less that 3,000 gold really means when we start hitting full item builds.
Facial Prism not quite landing, but Parascree's going to be here. Beautiful Weezballs ward into Seismic Shove, but he's going down, but not quite yet. Kremel blew the Nether Grasp on him, and Kerberos is in the back line, devours Orcs, and now marching forward, Shikari gets Seismic shoved into the Cho'Gath. A double kill for Kerberos, and Singularity are not going down without a fight.
That was a really good Weaver's Rule there from Talia. Completely blocks off Krimmel from that team fight. He was sitting on the edge with his little pets around his ankles, unable to get in there. And considering the front line from Singularity, barely survived that fight. And all of the carries from XO are still alive there. That could have gone very differently, but I perfectly positioned wall, zones Malzahar away from that fight. He's unable to contribute as much as he would like to. That was a close fight. Look at that Weaver's Wall. Look at Krimmel go in right there. And Shikari pops his ultimate, but he's not quite tanky enough to take on 5 people at once. And then by the time the wall comes down, Malzahar can rejoin the fight, and it's too late.
Subjugate ticks as well. It ticks up in stats. So he initially went into the fight with his base stats, hit Subjugate. You know, you have to wait a couple of seconds, my man, before you actually just fully commit. And he fully committed, and it was already a bit too late. Kremel cannot blow people up anymore. He is a Nether Grasp bot, and while that is a fantastic tool to use in the fights, he used it on Parascree, and Shifter said, not today. Use the Wild Growth, and he was safe.
I mean, there is one thing that Singularity have going for them. One of those things is amazing engage. And we've seen Cesar on the Sejuani literally every game this series. And he's been pretty good at pulling the trigger, I have to say. So when he dashes in and he launches out his ultimate, I mean, Singularity just picked Gragas there. They don't care who they hit with the ultimate. They just go in. And when you can zone people with that Weaver's Wall, there we go, he's going in again.
Facial Prism, and that is going to be Parascree separating them off, but actually underneath their turret. Not a lot of room to maneuver though. Kerberos on the front line taking a lot of damage to start off this fight. They're looking to back off, but Orcs is doing the same thing. Nether Grasp straight onto the Cho'Gath. He's going to fall to Kremel. They find the kill.
Inax
straight onto Inax as well. Sessa falls to Inax, and now they're just chasing down Paris Gree. He's going to save a couple of basic attacks. Inax finds himself a double kill after flashing. Ace in the hole to chase after Shifter. He's on the run. Only Matty and Shifter, the bottom lane for Singularity, making out of that fight alive.
And that is how we were expecting that last fight to go if the Weaver's Wall hadn't zoned people. We're 10 seconds away from Baron, 30 seconds on 3 members from Singularity. This is going down to XL. And dare I say, I think I've already said this once before, but in this position here, this is XL's game to lose. That was a really well-played teamfight though, and Inax, man, they did not dedicate many resources to him at all this game.
No one was trapped outside the Weaver's Wall this time. If he found Inax, Inax would have been useless in the fight, and then they could have pushed on or kited back and just played with their food a little bit before devouring it. But this time, Inax moved forward next to the turret, wasn't too scared. And now, XL, like you said, have got this Baron, and Elder is on the cards as well.
I mean, honestly, if I'm Singularity, this isn't too bad, because this has been your strength, the 5v5. And especially when you're fighting in an open area like this Weaver's Wall can have huge amounts of impact. And I don't know if they know. Like, look at this, zoning it away right here. So they're going to try and rush down this Elder Dragon. I'm not sure if it's going to work, but that's the strategy.
Sessa has Smite and Kerberos has Feast, but they're trying to make this happen. But XL, now they've been unleashed. They come in, but Nethergrasp is going to secure the kill onto Sessa, but Singularity, they do end up taking the Elder Drake.
And that's, if you're Singularity, that's fine. You lose one person, but you get the Elder Dragon. More importantly, you deny it from XL, because if they get that, they can really start sieging, especially considering they already have Baron. But what do you lose now? Cho'Gath is huge. Really huge.
Stacks. He's filling up a lane now, Foxdrop. They are going to lose an inhibitor here. A lot of Baron minions marching their way into the base. Sets are up in about 30 seconds as well.
And in those 30 seconds, you have to wonder whether Singularity are going to really hard commit to an engage here. Because while they have this Elder Dragon, which is about 1/3 of the way through, so there's still a little bit of time, they're pretty strong. And the 5v5 has worked in Singularity's favor in the past. XL will be smart to just try and run down the clock here for the Elder Dragon. Or definitely, if they do decide to push out with this Baron, because you don't really want to waste that, you need to be careful with the engage, because this is not a team. These fights are close. The only reason like 3 people die and it's like a 3 for 0 is because Kerberos dies with like 1 hit left. You know, like he's 1 hit from surviving, but then he dies and everything else falls apart. So
It's all down to the AD carries. Inax versus Matty. Whoever manages to set up the team fight and use their front line as a massive meat shield seems to be able to win these fights. They are heavy pushing down this mid lane, mind you, and that does actually lead XL rotating top lane. That last outer turret will go down to a couple of Caitlyn shots.
yeah, and we talked about how the front lines are just meat shields at this point. I mean, Malzahar is doing a really good job of making those meat shields, you know, like lamb mince shields.
Tenderizing them.
Yeah. It's not that impressive when you're pinned down with the Malzahar ultimate and losing all your health. And he really, really hurts. And don't forget, when you're suppressed, you can't use your stone plate. You can't use your locket. That makes you pretty squishy.
Here's the siege. The traps have been laid as well. Paris Gree did use the Weaver's Wall initially. Kerberos off to the sidelines. Wants to try and make something happen, but those traps are just zoning him off for the moment. There's no way he can get past that trap, just saying. His player model right now is a little bit too big. Although, he snuck past it. He's got in the wall as well. It's all good. Although that pillar will...
now.
Oh, he gets pinned in front of the traps as well. Yeah, he has popped the Gargoyle stone plate. No Righteous Glory use just yet.
Their stone plate being down, though, is fairly significant, because it all comes down to the front line dying first. Whoever's front line dies first loses the team fight. So having these stone plates on cooldown, that means a lot. And you have to know here as well that Singularity have their mid lane pushing in this whole time. So if they decide to play this game, try and defend this tower, XL are under no pressure to make this happen right now, because their mid lane's working in their favor. It's pushing in, and they can just play around that.
Inax is just popping shots to the turret as well. Whenever his rapid fire cannon is off cooldown, just pop, 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 slowly getting chipped away, and now it's time to break the siege. Nice little trap onto Kerberos. It's still pretty chunky, mind you. Flash coming in. Weaver's Wall's going to separate Inax. Orcs jumps over it, but Nethergrass right onto Kerberos. He's just melting in front of your very eyes. The front line for Singularity is going down. Kerberos flashes out. Sessa does the same, but Taxa doesn't want to go forward either. Krumel finds the kill with the Malefic Visions, and they manage to find one. The tanky Sejuani is down, which leaves XL to open the base even further.
That was a really good initiation with the Weaver's Wall to split them off, but Paris Gree had to destroy his own wall because he couldn't get back in. He jumped off it too early, and he was zoned from the fight. He split XL perfectly there. 3 one side, 2 on the other. That could have been really good, but he had to break it to get in himself. And I mean, we said these fights would be close, and it's all about the front line just dying first. And I said it kind of just comes down to like 1 hit each way. And that he Cesar died to like the last few ticks of Malefic Visions. Another close fight. Can't help but feel like Adaptive Helm would have helped save him there, but still.
My point stands. He's gone full defense, though. He's gone full, I'm going to help the team. I'm going to shield the team. I've got the Gargoyle Stone Plate. I'm going to buff myself up and then pop the Locket, which now scales on the HP. And in fact, he's just done that now. Looks like he did activate both those cooldowns. I was just looking at them and looking at the rest of his items. Knight's Vow as well, which is attached to X-Matty. So no longer is he going for this full HP build early. He's going for more the tanky, I'm going to help the team.
Is that? I'm going to hope that's suspect. Yeah.
Oh,
okay.
yeah. It was. Okay.
That was a bit troubling. Something we haven't even talked about yet, by the way, is Singularity's support is an Ardent support. Now, Ardent did get nerfed this patch, but it's still from level 10 onwards, basically as good as it was last patch when it was really, really strong. So you've got Tristana, who's not only, you know, Tristana in the late game, but is being enabled by the Ardent sensor. It's a big pain coming out of her as well.
No Baron buff left on XL, mind you. So Singularity are going to have a bit of an easier time clearing the waves for the time being, although stepping part of the Caitlyn traps is going to be a bit of a problem, and Kerberos feels the brunt of that. If
Inax gets caught by Sejuani ultimate, by the way, he's dead. Last game, he's got his Sash, but that's it. Last few games, he's had Morgana to protect him, plus the Mikhail's Crucible. But now all he's got is his Sash. And if he gets caught by something, that's a lot less protection than we've seen in the past few games, so...
No longer does he have that luxury of
and he's playing pretty up to like chunk down and chip away at this tower. He's feeling it. Inax is in the zone, he's feeling it, but if he oversteps, this could be kind of ugly.
Baron's up in 10 seconds as well. So XL, they've got that on the cards. There you can see the giant purple worm spawning on the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. It's looking good. Singularity, though, they are taking chip damage, and now XL get their time on the turret. Their time on the turret's pretty valuable. It goes down. Glacial Prism lands. It's going to land on the Trundle. Subjugate used. Paris Gree is going to separate the team. This time it separates Krumel. Kerberos just jumps straight in the fight. I don't even see what's happening. Krumel is just melting him in the front line, though, and Nethergrass will find him, and they are just melting through them. Inax finds and helps kill Taxa. Goes down as well. X-Matty moving forward. Seismic shove onto Krumel, but everybody is so low. Inax uses the Q to find the kill on Shifter, and he's moving in the base. They still have 4 members alive and a lot of HP under their belts. They managed to find the first inhibitor, and they might just end up finding the third.
I can't believe that Matty was sitting there just auto-attacking that whole fight and still wasn't really able to break XL's front line. These guys are so tanky, these fights. The front line of these fights are deciding everything, and I thought when XL had stepped up there, another great Weaver's Wall though by Paris Gree. I thought maybe they'd gone a little bit hard for the tower and then were going to sacrifice the fight afterwards, which would be pretty bad when Baron's still on the table here. I don't know if these guys have seen Singularity. I don't think saw that XL recalled there, but I mean, this Baron does not survive for very long at all.
They're going to start it up right now, Foxtrot.
They're going for it, and they can get it.
Singularity had this on the board. Now, Krumel stopped his recall, so he's half HP right now. Teleport coming in from Kerberos is going to be able to smite this one away, or at least feast it. There goes the Baron. It goes over to Singularity, but they are not finished with him just yet. They find the Nethergrass onto Kerberos, and he ends up devouring the Malzahar in return. 1-for-1 trade, but Singularity get the Baron.
Oh, man, that is actually huge right there. If Singularity had lost someone for free, that may have been the game. Because that's hard to defend. That is very hard to defend if you're 4v5. I mean, they're struggling 5v5 as it is, but 4v5, that's a problem.
We're 46 minutes into this game. It couldn't be any more climactic. EXCEL now moving in, despite the Baron buff. They have all 3 inhibitors down. They can do this. Double super minion waves are crashing into Singularity's base, and they are on their last limbs. Sesta is going in, body slam. There's the cask as well. Knock up, Inax doing 3 damage. Paris Gree finds himself in the front line. He's not quite dead just yet. Foxtrot, they've still got life left in him.
That was close. I thought Cesar got a little bit too gun happy there. Tried to pull the trigger and got a little bit too happy, and I thought he messed it all up. But he's pretty tanky, as it turns out. Who would have thought? And to be honest, we were talking about Criminal being the Achilles heel of Cesar for the last few games. And he wasn't around. He was dead. So if Criminal was there, he was gone. But I mean, look at... Wait, okay, look. Banner of Commands come out from Inax here. He's going to chuck it on someone in spawn and then sell it and go back and buy his 6th item.
That's how much gold we have right now.
But he's gone boots, and Tristana has gone for another Zeal item of the Hurricane. So as far as that goes, Tristana actually has more damage, but I mean, he's also got Ardent Sensor. Like, this guy is...
He can pump out the deeps.
Yeah.
It's whether he can actually make any of that damage stick, and something we've seen in the last couple of team fights is he can't. EXCEL have stepped up multiple times, and Matty is trying his hardest to take one member down. It's just not working for them. Elder Dragon's going to spawn in 3 seconds.
This is gone.
And it is going to disappear.
Mate, you are going to regret spawning right there, friend. He's out of it. But what can Singularity do? They have 1 tower standing on the whole map. 1 tower to defend their Nexus.
This might be the fatigue setting in for Singularity.
Oh, yeah.
You mentioned it at the start of the game. They've been to Paris Games Week. They faced and lost against LDLC.
Banshees.
Now they are here at the ESL Premiership Finals, fighting tooth and nail to keep themselves alive and in this game. They've not taken a turret in about 20 minutes. We are 49 going on 50 minutes into this game. Gold doesn't matter anymore. It's an afterthought. And Singularity, they have an Elder buffed EXCEL moving into their base.
At this point in the game, everyone's full build. It just comes down to who pulls the trigger, trying to hold on. For Singularity's sake, they're happy that they are the ones with the Baron buff right now. Because if EXCEL had this, oh boy, this would be difficult to play versus. But they just have to hold on and try and stall out for this Elder Dragon, because you do not want to fight an Elder Dragon buff team. That's going to give them the edge in the fight. So he's got to chill out as best they can, as difficult as that is when you have all the lanes down with inhibitors, and just try and hold on.
Elder Dragon buff isn't going to be on them for too much longer, so that timer might just expire in this next push or so. Kerberos, though, in a lot of trouble. There's the Nether Grass. They're going to jump straight on. Glacial Prism ends up missing, but look where Inax is. 3 damage to the front line. Kerberos ends up going down. The next target's going to be Cesta. He can't move. He's silenced, and Inax just marching forward. Matty just dashing away. Inax with the flash forward. The double kill. The triple kill gets blocked. Ace in the hole goes wide, but EXCEL are 5 members strong. They're just going to push onto this last inhibitor. Turret, Nexus turret is going to go down. Singularity are going to fall, and EXCEL are your ESL UK Premiership champions. What a fantastic